So the other guest that we have in the room is the eminent Dr. Kelly Pollard, who's in the corner there, and she is a Wiradjuri woman who works in the Northern Territory. She's leading a project that we're working on Indigenous archaeology. So, and Kelly's here, and we're all here as part of a research project, really. Except Anita, who's here to study. Okay, we get into it? Good one. Okay, so this is orientation. Welcome to orientation. Yep, next. Do you want me to stick it?
No, I'll do it.
You stick it? Okay, welcome to archaeology. This slide was done by my colleague Martin Polkenholm. He loves all these kind of ancient civilizations. This is probably what you're thinking of with archaeology. Okay, next one. Okay, acknowledgement of country. So this here are two young girls that some of you might know well. And they live in Wormbun. Australia is and always has been Aboriginal land. It's never been ceded. There's never been anything where Aboriginal people said they don't, we give up this land. This is a flag, Aboriginal flag, and the Torres Strait Islander flag. Okay. So next one. This gives you a sense, and I want you just to have this as an understanding of the diversity of Aboriginal Australia. So we're going to talk about the degree and the orientation. So we're going to talk about archaeology first. I'm going to talk about the logistics of study, some kind of practical stuff, and then I'm going to end up in careers for archaeology. So you might hope to stay for the full bit. Okay, but you can see here, these are all different language groups. So if you think of Europe, France, Spain, Romania, Ukraine, all those countries, Poland, different language groups, different cultures. And we've got that here in Australia, and that's just an amazing thing. So just wanting you to recognise that what people think in one part of Australia, Aboriginal people, well, what they think in another part of Australia might be different because they're different cultural backgrounds, really significantly different. And the other thing I just want you to take away from this is that there's a lot of innovation and world first in the evolution of Australia, in the Aboriginal colonisation and settlement of Australia. And if we go to the next one, the Aboriginal colonisation of Australia, even if you leave next week, I want you to remember the world's first intercontinental sea crossing. And we know that because it had our earliest known site was in the North Malacananya at Umaja Baby now at 65,000 years. To get to Australia, they had to cross at least 100 kilometres between islands where you can't actually see what's happening ahead of you. So it's the first intercontinental sea crossing in the world. Okay. What is archaeology? So we're thinking about it as pyramids. I know that, I used to think that too. I have been to the pyramids. So yeah, Kelly and I have been to the pyramids. So we know they exist, but we don't study them. But yeah, some of you might. Okay, keep going. The human past through material culture, the artifacts that Mavis is talking about. Human behaviour, understanding human behaviour, which Jay and what was your name? Ethan and
Mitchell.
Jay, Ethan and Mitchell put together. That's a nice, I hope you're all in the same tutorial. That would be very helpful. Archaeologists don't dig dinosaurs, very sad. So I hope you take that one away. Next. We're a lot of things. We're arts as well as science. We're a range of skills, a range of knowledge. We have many, many interests. Go to next. And this is just to give you some idea of the kinds of artifacts we have. Modern pots, arrowheads, bits of iron, carved trees. Yeah. So it's also not just on land, it's also underwater. So we are, without question, the premier maritime archaeology department in the country here, and one of the best in the world, without question. So if any of you are brave enough to go underwater, and I'm not, we're the place, we really have got the reputation, we're the place to do that. And we do space archaeology. Dr. Space Jump, who has 500 million followers on Twitter. Not really, but hundreds of thousands. She studies space junk, stuff going around in space, and she taught culture wars between Russia and America and Japan, and she's got money she's got private controlled, very hard to get access to International Space Station data. So yeah, she's a real like international leader. That's Professor Alice Kuhlman. Okay, next one. So we're from the monumental to the microscopic. We also study dirt and little bits of shards of stone tools or shards of pottery, little things. But then we have these big monumental things. Yep, next one. Indigenous, historical. So some of these things we'll talk about in the first lecture. We'll keep going now. Here we are in the present. This is a repatriation ceremony happening in the US. Repatriation of human skeletons, of human ancestors. And this size was given to me by Dorothy Lippert, who's a curator she's a Choctaw woman, curator at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History. Okay, we go. And that's what we got as archaeologists. Up the top is what we have as us, and archaeologists have to try and work this out. It's a hard job. And some of it's guesswork. But then it's the best guesses we can do until someone thinks of a better guess. Okay, next one. Sometimes it's tough. There's Gamarang, my husband, Jacko, and he's our car clearly had got bogged. Jimmy Weeson is looking at him, and and this is Peter Manabru, who was his best friend until he didn't actually pass away. He walked away. So he was a senior ceremony man, and when he was old, and he just went out bush. And the police looked, and Gamarang Jacko flew up, and for 2.5, 3 weeks was walking everywhere looking for him, calling out Manabru, come back. Claire's not got rid of those kids from our camp. You can come back now. Okay, and next one. And here we've got Mavis here who works on a project which about collecting ochre with me. And she's here, and Nell Brown, who's a Jungai, which is traditional custodian. Marlene Lee, who is Samuel Williker's niece, biological niece. Jocelyn, who's here and might turn up a little bit later on. And some other people, Elizabeth and Glenn from our camp. Okay, next one. And again, this is different kinds of archaeology. This is Martindale Hall up there. I think this is kind of cave kind of stuff. Okay, next one. Even this, Prince Philip's funeral. That's archaeology, modern material culture. Okay. So your degree checklist, the things you need to do. You need to make sure you have access to a computer, a laptop, really, with Chrome as a browser. So Chrome seems to work. So I use Safari and Chrome. So, but some things don't work on Safari. But some things don't work on Chrome that work on Safari. You need good internet access. So you have to make sure you've got that, because if you haven't got the tools, you're like a builder. If you haven't got the nails and the hammer, you're doomed. Don't doom yourself. Pitch whoever it is you've got to harass. If you haven't got that gear, then harass them to help you to have that gear and say, look, my professor told me that I actually have to have this. Darling mother, husband, aunt, sister, friend, whatever. Okay, you need to be able to get to uni. There's very strong statistics between people who come to class and people who get through and people who stay home, and you kind of lose momentum. And part of the pleasure of uni is getting to know each other. So you're in one class now, but those three guys, Ethan, Jay, and Mitchell, you'll be best mates by the end of the semester. You'll be down the pub, when some of these others will be with you. So you get to know people, you get to be friends, and that's the best part of uni. Okay, you've got to get a student card, admin, the beginning of, well, not the beginning of, but part of the admin that will try and crush you, but I know that you won't let it. And you've got to get hours access to particular rooms, labs or something. So if you're doing some volunteer work in the labs. Okay, next one. Okay, you've got to have a timetable that fits in so that you're not actually saying, oh, I've got to go to work, I can't teach that class, I can't go to that class. Sometimes you can jiggle it for a little bit, but sometimes you can't. And you really, if you want to do uni, do uni. And I'm a working class girl. My sister and I were the first people in our family to go to uni. And I didn't go till I was 25. And the reason I didn't go was I couldn't work out how you could get a living out of anything at university. I was like, I don't know, how do you get a living? Now I understand you become a professor and they pay money, but when you become a medical doctor or you become an archaeologist, there's so much work in archaeology, you just You're not allowed to take on consultancies in first year, second year or third year. Just telling you that because somewhere along the line, someone will ask you to be a volunteer. You can do volunteer work as much as you like, but you can't, you have to be paid. To be paid, you have to have some qualifications. But there is so much work at the moment that people are getting nicked all the time. Okay, you're human, you make mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning and growing. And I'll just guess whatever else might have been on that slide. And yeah, check your university emails, do check them. I think I'm going to put up a Discord. Who uses Discord here? I know the gamers do, yeah, okay. So I know who's going to be awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'll be on Discord and I'll be saying, how's that essay going? How's your artifact? Have you worked out what artifact you've got? Okay. There'll be collaborations and you will contribute. Don't have to really worry about that. Okay, next one. Okay, so I'll email this to everybody in first year, so you all have these on the flow site, so you can look at this whenever you like. But basically, it's saying commit to what you're doing. So it's good.
Sorry, Claire.
That's all right. I'll just have a look. I'm aware of the high importance. Oh yeah, it says don't plagiarise. That means ChatGPT. Anybody heard of ChatGPT? Only one. You're the only person who's going to plagiarise in the whole class. That's amazing. That's fantastic. Okay, you'll learn about it because it will go like this through wildfire now. But my nephew showed it to me, and he put in Aboriginal culture diversity, and he got this fantastic essay that came back. And the university hasn't banned it, and we're trying to work out how to deal with it. In my classes, most of your work will be as personal, so you'll do an assignment on an artifact or an era that you're interested in. So the outcome is, if you do that, is you end up with a degree, but you haven't got the skills, and then you get a job, and you don't know how to write, you don't know how to do the job, and then so it's better to actually learn how to write and do it yourself. But I'd be very interested. We might do a survey on ChatGPT. So only one person in this room has heard of ChatGPT.
I've heard of it.
2, 3, 4. Now see, I've identified the plagiarisers. That's all right. That's very good. Thank you.
I'll write them down, Claire.
Jay, Ethan, I suspect Mitchell. What's your name?
Luke.
Luke and Amber. Okay, so clearly you use it. I say use it as a tool, like any other tool, but don't, or ignore it. And you can, what you could do, let's think about how we deal with this. For me, what you could do is say somewhere in there, I have not used ChatGPT, and then I'll look at your essay or whatever more, I'll know that this isn't being artificially whatever. So I might just do a thing and just have you ask for that comment as part of your assignments. Okay, next one. Yeah, contact us if you can't go. It's just all formal stuff. Yeah. Email profession, that means like, yeah, they gave you that slide to give to you. Yeah. The answer you'll get from me will be yes, no, yep. I'm really short on emails. It's not that I don't care. I'll just look through it, work out what the answer is, and just give it to you. And I won't waste your time or mine with a whole lot more words than we need. But other people might be more verbose, but they're probably better people. Okay, go to Ode Week sessions. We're doing that. If you need to go to student counselling, okay. So there's a whole lot of support services. Obviously, talk about that. Let's keep going. Okay, what are you looking forward to? What are you uncertain about? What time is it?
25 minutes.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, so I can slow down a little bit then. Sorry, I was just a bit worried that at 11:45 we'll be halfway through this. So, somebody who hasn't spoken, I'm going to choose you two. What's your name?
Eddie.
Paddy?
Eddie.
Paddy?
Eddie.
Eddie.
With an A.
Addie?
Eddie.
Eddie.
Eddie. Oh, sorry, Eddie. Right. Okay, Eddie and Maddie. Eddie and Maddie. Yep. Okay, resonates, doesn't it? What are you looking forward to at uni?
Getting new skills, jobs.
What about you?
I don't know, like connecting with people and like learning stuff.
So you're very, very virtuous people. I thought it might have been like going down the pub, moving, listening to music, whatever, okay, so that's good. That's great. Anybody else? What else are you looking forward to over here?
I'm looking forward to gaining a deeper understanding of archaeology because I already work in the industry. So.
Oh, okay, right. Okay. So she's after professional development. Okay. That's as good a reason as any for doing archaeology. Anybody else?
I'm looking forward to exploring and learning about human history and where we come from and where we are now.
So I found archaeology by accident. I studied economic history and I wanted to do an economics law degree. So I only found it as part of a history topic and I didn't even know it was called archaeology. But I loved it. And so I went up, so I thought, oh, maybe I don't want to be a lawyer after all. So maybe some of you will find the part of archaeology you like, some of you might be thinking of just doing this as a pillar, but if you're here, you're not doing it. I promise I'm not going to pick on anyone else now, so anyone who doesn't want to be picked on can just relax. There's a couple of you looking like, oh my God. Okay, what are you uncertain about? I'm going to just wait for someone to tell me, what are you uncertain? What worries you? If it worries you, what worries everyone else?
Balance.
Balance? Really? Balancing your life and your other commitments and work. Yep, that's a really good thing to be worried about. Yep. And what can you do? Can anyone, other people would be worried about that balance. You've got lives, some of you have jobs, some of you have families, or, some of you have children. What can you do about balance, do you think? No, I'm asking, I'm not telling you, I'm just trying to think it through.
It's probably cliche, but like plan ahead. It's probably hard in some situations, but it can help.
Yeah, that's good, Chad. Yeah, I think you're right. I think planning will help. I think that will help. And explaining to people the situation you're in, look, I've got an essay due tomorrow. This is really important. Or, I've got a keynote address at a conference in Mexico due tomorrow morning at 8:30 and I haven't started it. So I may be a little stressed today, but yes. So that's my situation. Okay, so balance is one thing. What else? Anything else? What would tell us about what you're upset about? Mavis, what are you on? Not Mavis, Anita. I know you're starting a graduate thing, but what do you feel about uni? Like, what makes you uncertain? What are you? I'm not sure.
I'm sort of looking forward to what I'm doing now because I know that they're going to be a lot of challenges in my life as I go through my studies. I'm looking forward to these challenges and what comes my way, and everything. I'm just me trying to fit in. I'm at push. I need to work. We being trying to have that balance like this guy said, the balance between both ways for me.
Yeah. So Anita comes from a community of about 300 people, and she was the principal of the school there for a long time. She's taught at the school for 30 years more. And so now she's coming to the city to do a graduate degree. She'd probably do a master's degree in archaeology. So she's sitting in on things to kind of skill up a bit, professional development in the way here. Okay, next one. Yep, these are just some plans on what you should do week by week. Go to your classes, go to the library, attend some of the events. Oh, sorry, I'm on my way. Okay, week 2. Yes, go to your seminars. So we don't usually have shoots in first week, but we do have them in second week. Find your way around the campus. There's a Lost on Campus app, which I think I've got in this presentation. Yep. Week 3, settle in. Just feel kind of normal around week. For me, my classes start to become themselves around week 5. Week 5, 4, 5, 6 is when the group becomes, people know each other well enough and they're settled in, and whatever that class is, the character of that class comes out about that time. So it's probably around 4 or 5 weeks before you actually settle and you think, I've got a place here, I belong here, I know what I've got to do. If you have any problems, you have lots of support. That's one of the nice things of uni is there's a lot of people who care about whether you succeed, whereas often in the world, you know, no one really cares. A lot of people don't care. Yeah, thank you, darling. That's my husband, Gary Jackson, who was co-teaching some classes with me. And we've got more people from community here. Come in, Saralina. Yeah, come in. This is Jocelyn McCarthy. Jocelyn, I call daughter. She's from Barunga community. She's been my mentor since 1990. So I've worked at Barunga since, and she's the one that lady with the damper in that photo with the damper. She makes the best damper in the world. And Saralina is her granddaughter who we think will come to uni maybe next year. Okay, next one, week 4, take advice, look at the withdrawal dates. I have them in the timetable for you. Next one, week 5. Oh, no, it's gone. Sorry. Oh, so, no, it's all right. You'll be amazed. I can press buttons. Oh, we've gone past anyway. Download the Lost on Campus app to find this. This is a confusing place. I get lost still all the time. I recommend that app. Okay, that's the kind of fun thing. What's your study personality? So you have a look at that and see what it says. Detective, yeah, whatever. Detective would be for a lot of us, wouldn't it? Storyteller might be for some of us. Okay, next one. Okay, so this is just to give you a head start for first year. Hominins first emerged around 4.5 million years ago. Dinosaurs were about 60 million years ago, so a bit of a gap. So that's why we don't study dinosaurs. Anatomically modern humans, which are people that are kind of like, yeah, Gemma?
I might go and pick up some more people's too. So somebody want to come?
Yeah, good. Thank you. It's very handy to have
Yeah,
a.
if you want anything, put up your hand.
So Jacko's picking up people. They've come from Barunga and Manyalalook, and he's picking them up so that they can come up to the university and familiarise. Indigenous colonisation of Australia, around 65,000. Agriculture, 10,000. Ancient societies. By ancient societies, kind of like, I don't even know that word really. Those kind of, not even classical society. I don't know, what would you call them? Things like Angkor Wat and places like that. You know, big city kind of places. Yep. Okay. Next one. Okay, so if you're doing a Bachelor of Archaeology, this is what you have to do. These are the discovering archaeology is me. History of archaeological thought is me. Arc of Modern Society, absolutely, that's fun. That's Alice and Heather usually. Human evolution. Moffat, you're teaching that now, aren't you?
No, Mike's teaching it, I think, this year.
Is he? Okay. So this is the kind of things that you have to teach each year, and you have to fill out all the things. The blue ones are compulsory. The core topics, these ones are options in yellow, and over here are archaeology options, and these can be in another topic. So you can do philosophy or biology or anything else over there. Yep, next one. Help is available. So this is just a little thing about the help services. So go to the next one. Okay, there's counselling, disability. You know, everybody's stressed at uni. You'll be stressed, you know, because you'll be worried that you can't. But every time, I don't know about Moffat, but every time I have to write something, and I've been writing for 40 years, I panic at the beginning. So I look at that blank paper and I think, I can't do it. I can't do it. I know I've done it 125 million times before, but I can't do this one. So everybody feels that sense of can't do. And how do you work out your strategies for doing it? Usually I write some notes and rubbish notes and just try and get rid of that white paper as quick as I can. And, you know, write one little thing well and build it up. But I'm a very slow writer. Okay? So if you have any, you know, anxiety, depression, all of those things, 40% of Australians have that, our clinic have anxiety or depression sometime in their lives. Now, my guess is it's like 90%, no, I reckon it's about 85% of first years going in, and after the first week, it's 95%. So if you're feeling stressed, so is everyone else, just, and if you need extensions or you need help, then reach out and people will support you. Okay, Oasis has all this interesting stuff. It is really, really good. And it's kind of, it started off as a kind of multi-faith thing, and it is still, but it's down there, and sometimes, they give away food and stuff like that one day of the week, I don't know, some stuff. And they just have yoga and forest walks and nice things to meditation. Okay, next one. Yeah, oh yeah, this is around, the prayer room and all these other things, equal opportunity. Yep, next one. Safety, you will be safe. You don't have to really worry about that. And I wondered about putting that slide in. I almost took it out because it made it, I thought by talking about not being safe, you kind of make people feel not safe. But if anything happens and you need anything, then you just reach out. Lots of scholarships. So go online and look at the scholarships and see if there's anything that suits you that you can get some support for. Most of them close on the 8th of March 2023. And there's a website for that. Okay, next one. International Student Services. We don't have a lot of international students here in archaeology. I'm really not sure why. Maybe in the graduate program, but that's for people who are international students who want to meet other people from their country or other countries. Yep. Now we're going to talk a little bit about jobs. Where can archaeology take you? You can get a job as a consultant, which I imagine you're working in. What was your name? Eva. Eva's working in consulting in a university like Moffat, or me in the government. Nobody here, but as a curator in a museum or the administration person in the government. If you've been in university long enough, all the administrators in most of the states are your former students. I don't know, so that's pretty good, mostly. But if they want revenge, of course, community and corporate, heritage officers, but there's a lot of work in archaeology at the moment, isn't there, Moffat?
Heaps, yes, absolutely.
You say something, your turn.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Ian Moffat. I'm an archaeological scientist here in the department, and welcome everyone to Flinders. It's so good to have you on campus and starting your archaeology journey. We're thrilled to have you here. And I'll be teaching things like field methods, archaeological science, geophysics, remote sensing, archaeological chemistry, those sort of things. It'd be great to have you in one of my classes at some stage. But the point that Claire has made is so important. It's something we hear all the time, and we mainly hear it from your parents when they come to campus for the open days, and they say, my son or daughter wants to be an archaeologist and they're not going to get a job. It's absolutely not true. Most of our graduates are getting hired before they're graduates because there's so much demand for archaeology.
And sometimes they don't even hide it from us. Sometimes I've had third years saying I've got a job, and I think, don't tell me you're only in third year.
So there's great opportunities, and more importantly, in terms of your life, I think not only are there lots of employment opportunities, but there's an opportunity to have a really interesting, diverse career, which Claire certainly has, and I think you're going to talk about in the next slide. And I've similarly been lucky enough to work all over the world on a range of different projects. I've lived in a lot of different countries, done field work everywhere basically, and continuing to do lots of active field work with wonderful collaborators. So there's a very exciting journey ahead for all of you, whichever path you want to go down within the archaeological world.
The thing I like about archaeology, which I didn't really know at the beginning, is that it's a mix of, I like reading books, and it's a mix of being and reading and writing and all that. Like if you're autistic, it's that focus is really, really good. So I have a son who's seriously autistic, and we all think I might be a bit autistic. And I love that focus, and it's very calming. And then you go out into the field and you go out with people like my daughter Jocelyn or Mavis or Anita or young Samuel, and you're learning with interesting people looking after you. You're really learning cross-culturally. So archaeologists want to learn what people were doing a long time ago. That's another culture. You can also do it in the present by learning from culture. And it is a danger. It's like people say, oh, you know, it's like Indiana Jones. Obviously, we all know it's not like Indiana Jones, but at this very minute, one of our colleagues has been abducted in New Guinea, and they've got a $3.5 million ransom on him. So he works in the highlands of New Guinea, and Moffat's not even asking who it is. Do you know who it is?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I can tell you that. I'll wait till I'll tell you in first year, because we'll find out if they paid the money or what happened. So no, it's horrible, isn't it? And I was abducted in Brazil, so you know, nothing like having someone with a gun to make you really focus. You think? Okay, next one. But hopefully you don't get abducted. You know. It's an emerging occupation, average salary 102,000, and that's average. 92% have an honours or postgraduate degree. However, there's so much work at the moment that not all, that 8% would be more now, I think. 65% work in Indigenous archaeology. So even if you're interested in pyramids, in historical archaeology, you'll probably end up working with Aboriginal people as well, and that's why it's important to have those Aboriginal ethics, to understand Aboriginal ethics. And 62% half their time working in cultural heritage management. Okay, so there's some more stats. I'll put that up there for you. And the next slide. Okay, so this is actually from my friend Heather Burke, who's a professor here, and that's not her. She wouldn't have that's not. She's using a photo of someone else, but she's worked as consulting in government, in university, and in historical archaeology for which is the last 250 years. Not that she's worked in it for 250 years.
I'm sure it feels like it sometimes though.
Sometimes. And finally, your university. This is such a precious time in your life. And something that someone said to me, that he was in charge of the Fulbright Commission, and I'd organised a conference in Darwin. And I don't know, Jocelyn, whether you went, but certainly Rachel went, and Wendy Williker, and a few more people from Barunga. And it was a very successful conference. A lot of things outdoors, and I was still worried about whether there was salt and pepper on each of the tables. And this man, John Lake, stopped and he said, and I remember him, he said, stop. Who cares about the salt and pepper on every table? That's it. He said, enjoy the moment, enjoy your success. So what I say to you, we'll go to the last slide, is archaeology will take you to wonderful places. It will be a wonderful journey for you. Enjoy the journey. University is a wonderful journey. Enjoy the journey. Thank you. So if any of you have any questions, they're quite likely to be in someone else's mind. I imagine that we've run to about 50. Is it 10 to? So when I give my talk tomorrow that I haven't even started, I'll be able to time it. But do you have any questions? Does anyone have anything that they're, you know? Because somebody else is likely to have that same question too. How to get an extension? You apply online. Oh, you see your show. Oh, Joe. What about Liam? No, Ethan. No questions? Mitchell?
None so far, no.
Maddie or nothing? Eddie? I've imprinted your name now.
Are
Eddie?
there any resources for figuring
Yeah.
out exactly what you kind of when you're trying to enroll in your topics and stuff? Is there anyone you can talk to that has sort of any advice about, you know, which semester in which to do things like that, or is it just something you solely figure out on your own online?
I think, sadly, the answer to that might be me. So if you have any problems in that area, I think that's part of my job. Yeah. So I've just taken on the role of coordinator of all that stuff this year. So Martin did it and he was worn down up, totally worn down, poor bugger. Yeah, so if you have any problems with the degree structure, when to do particular topics, then best time to catch me really is my classes this year are crazy. On a Friday, I'm teaching from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the computer didn't think that I might like a lunch break. But before or after the classes, or Tuesdays is a better day, when I've got the lecture in the first year. But you can email me or we can Discord. So I'll open up a Discord channel for this class, and people who want to can join it. It's not compulsory, but it is a way of getting instant contact. And we put in an application. Have any of you read any of the works by Sean Williams? Wrote Crooked House and some other sci-fi stuff. Well, he's actually a very famous sci-fi author, and he works here, and he's a writer and a teacher here, and he and I are putting in an application to have Discord supported by the university as a whole. So yes, come to me. Yeah. And if you have any questions, look, really, Moffat, he knows a lot of things. Ian.moffat@flinders.edu.au. So if I don't answer, straight on to Moffat.
Very happy to help out. And I'd also let you know that there's a wonderful, they're called the ERO team, who do a lot of the student services in the college. So if it's less a question about archaeology specific things, or if you're having trouble with enrolling or figuring out the systems, they're incredibly helpful. So don't hesitate to reach out to those people as well, and they'll be really happy to help.
And online, there's a thing called Ask Flinders. I think that's still there, which means you just put it in and it's like a generic ask question thing. And it'll go to somebody who will be responsible for giving you an answer. So while I hate those generic things, somebody does answer every time. So it is quite useful. Okay, well, thank you all very much. And I'll see you next Tuesday at noon in wherever the lecture theatre is, Social Sciences South somewhere. And yeah, welcome to Archaeology. Now, let me get your name and your name now. Simona.
I go by October, but I think it's down as a license.
Oh, like the October?
October, yeah. Like the month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I do actually have a question. I'm looking to volunteer, like I want to go to conservation.
Great to see you.
And so my main goal is
No, all good.
conservation.